Jimmy and JoAnne, welcome to the show. It's good to see you guys again. I see you're still in your festive St. Patrick's Day garb, even though St. Patrick's Day was yesterday or Saturday. How you guys doing?
Yesterday. Well, because Moriarty is a good Irish name. The Moriartys were naval warriors. That's what Moriarty means, and of course we think it's proper for everybody to celebrate St. Patrick's Day all year long. And JoAnne likes the Irish because
I like the Irish because for a lot of reasons. It's a beautiful country. You should go there sometime, Jason. It's the people are friendly. Mm-hmm. It's really a wonderful place. My great grandmother was from Ireland. Her name was Elliot, and so we celebrate Irish holidays. Ireland is a very unique place. They see the world better than a lot of countries. They supported Gaddafi. They understood who he was. Where the media was putting out what a terrible person he was, they understood his fight against oppression and other things in his country. And also they have a complete embargo against Israel. They're one of the few countries that has done that.
Ireland.
Ireland, saying that Israel is, because of the Palestinian issue and the war crimes against Palestine. So Ireland's kind of an interesting place, but beyond that, it's a beautiful country. The people are very friendly and welcoming, and it's just a nice place to go if you ever get a chance.
I remember when I was a kid, there was a lot of stuff going on with the IRA, what is that? The Ireland, some sort of
Republican
Army.
Yeah.
Right? They were trying to secede from the United Kingdom or something like that, and there were movies about we never hear about them anymore. What happened to them?
No, I think they came to a financial agreement, and
Ireland stands alone now, except for a little tiny piece of it that still belongs to the United Kingdom.
Up around Dublin.
Or doesn't belong to it, but they still call themselves part of England.
Yeah, they still use the British pound in the Dublin area of Ireland.
It's a little north of that. It's a little tiny
yeah,
place.
Dublin's part of it too.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, Dublin's not part of it. It's north. You can look it up. It's a little tiny piece of Ireland, but Scotland's now trying to do that too. They're trying to distance and become their own sovereign nation.
Well, and we should remind everyone that this is, of course, the preview to our regular Monday night show that subscribers can watch by going to patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. It's really important that people get onto Patreon and support Jimmy and JoAnne. It's really difficult for whistleblowers to conduct their lives normally because there's all kinds of things. You guys have been soft killed and blacklisted, and your bank accounts have been shut down, and all kinds of issues with trying to run a normal business. So we've created this unique sort of mini network of people who come on to Crowdsource the Truth, and we do these special subscriber-only shows. And for Unseen Libya, people can watch that on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty, as well as patreon.com/crowdsource the truth and subscribestar.com/crowdsource the truth. Jimmy and JoAnne, can you guys give us just a little insight as to what we're going to be talking about on tonight's episode?
We're going to talk about a video that was made by the fact-finding commission that we were part of in 2011. It was a non-aligned group, youth organization that invited us. We don't know this group. We don't know how they got our name, but they invited us to go to Libya in May of 2011 to be part of a fact-finding commission. You'll see in this report was made by this commission and what they found out on the ground, and you will see how the UN would not send a fact-finding commission to Libya against their own rules. You will also see that they followed the media, who put out intentional lies about what was started. The first time in the history of the UN, they just took what the media said and took it as true.
Wow.
And made it as a fact to attack the country. And it's all in this fact-finding commission.
We supplied a lot of the information for this video, and in fact, we headed the fact-finding commission for probably half the time that this video was being made. I think it was released in late June, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so the war they hadn't finished blowing up Tripoli or anything at that time. But all the information in here is pretty good. The man that reads the script, which we wrote part of that, got a real deadpan voice. It's not very entertaining or anything, but a lot of the information is in there. A lot of the bad guys are shown and depicted. A lot of the videos that we've got that we have already aired on with you, Jason, part of those are shown here. And it's just validation of the videos we took ourselves, and you'll see parts of those right here.
It talks about 3 points. One of them is that Gaddafi brought in African Americans for mercenaries, which was a complete lie, and that shows how they massacred African Americans. These criminals. It shows how they called a jihad and called all the sleeper cells from Iraq and Afghanistan and all these places to come into Libya to take over the country. They talk about how Al-Qaeda was brought in, how NATO bombed the country when there was nothing going on in the country. NATO just continued to bomb Libya.
Wow.
Something interesting that I remembered when we were watching this, Libya actually accepted that resolution of the United Nations to establish a no-fly zone in Libya. But Libya did not authorize or accept the fact that the bombing would continue and accelerate and exacerbate to the point that over $1 trillion worth of Libya was blown up, infrastructure and cities and everything like that. So, the fact that Libya was not trying to be invaded is very, very evident.
Right.
And in this video, you'll see a lot of live bombing. You'll see a lot of horrendous activities and everything. But you'll also hear this narrator that is bringing out all the different points that led up to Libya being destroyed.
And how the media knowingly lied
about it.
That all the mainstream media lied about it. And
Wow.
how they went in and attacked police stations and military installations and killed a whole lot of the military that were guarding it. Never talked about the Libyans that were killed, only talked if one rebel got killed, then they talk about that.
Yeah.
Never talked about how many Libyans were killed by these mercenaries that were brought into the country.
And listen, Libyans did not have any weapons. I mean, the man we knew that was, he was the ex-ambassador to Tunisia from Libya. His weapon in his home was a Chinese-made air rifle. I mean, people did not have weapons in Libya. So for these rebels all of a sudden to have unlimited supply of weapons and ammunition and everything, those military-grade shells, those things are $1 a piece when you buy them from the military-industrial complex, and those guys would exhaust ammunition like it cost nothing. And of course, that's because it did cost them nothing.
And when you say
Anyway,
$1 a piece, Jimmy, for somebody who's living in Libya, $1 US is a much more substantial sum than an
Yes,
American
absolutely.
viewer of this show
And
might
in
presume.
this video, it talks about the demonetization, that the West was printing Libyan money, which further devalued it. It was demonetized in the first place, and then they just printed it unlimited amounts, which then made the currency inside the country not worth anything. And of course, no foreign entity wanted that currency, so the people had to use their hard assets. And in Libya, all the people held a lot of gold. That was part of their tribal tradition. When a woman got married, if she was married properly, she would be decked. She would be bedecked with gold from head to toe. And so the Libyans had a lot of gold. They had to use their gold to buy water, to buy milk, to buy chickens and everything. So their currency was really worth nothing. And this is part of the economic warfare that the United States is guilty of committing on every country.
Yeah, part of this, they show a lot of things like this protest that it's in the background about how peaceful protests were allowed in Libya. There was never a problem with this, that these protests were not turned into violence except by the protesters, the mercenaries the infiltrators that were in there.
Provocateurs. One of the most interesting things I've heard you guys say right now is that the media was used to stoke this war, this fake news.
Yes.
Fake news was used
Absolutely.
to fool the UN, and that's Amazing. That's really dangerous. We saw a clip of Barack Obama speaking earlier. I think everyone watching Crowdsource the Truth knows that under Barack Obama, the Smith-Mundt Act was modernized, making it legal to use propaganda. And I think Mr. Obama really enjoyed doing that. It's not a joke when we talk about fake news. If people see things on the news and believe them to be true, their thought process in terms of understanding reality is really manipulated. If you think that Gaddafi's forces are creating a civil war, then that gives you an entirely different outlook as compared to what you might think if you knew that outside forces from the US, from Israel, from other countries were coming and disrupting the peace within the country. So it's important that people remember that in just about 20 minutes from now, we're going to be starting our regular show on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. Was there anything that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap up this little preview video and head over to Patreon?
This video is all in English, so they won't have to go through the translation process. It's going to be a whole lot easier for anybody to watch. They'll get the gist of the whole thing. It's a real good layout that was true up until the time that it was made. There have been more disclosures of really what was happening in Libya after that, but it's a pretty good video, and it's as I said, it was produced by the Fact-Finding Commission. We headed for about half the time that we were there in Libya.
You see that photo of that? That's one of the young men that were killed, Jason.
Right.
That we did a show on him.
Yeah, so they've taken segments from videos that you guys have shot, they've taken segments from the news, they've taken segments from people's mobile phone videos and compiled this Fact-Finding Commission video. So people who have watched our show in the past might see some segments of videos that we've covered in depth. And you know, we should also mention before we go that people who want to purchase the DVD that Jimmy and JoAnne have created, the DVD does include the video we're going to be talking about tonight and quite a bit more. People can go over to LibyanWarTheTruth.com. This is the website that Jimmy and JoAnne maintain, and people who become sponsors of Jimmy and JoAnne's Patreon page by going to patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty are going to enjoy a discount when they purchase the DVD. It's going to be free shipping, so that's a $5 savings. And please make sure you email Jimmy and JoAnne to let them know that you've become a sponsor on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty. And that's an exclusive offer for sponsors of their Patreon page. Great way to learn more about the truth of what really happened. And of course, it's totally free to visit LibyanWarTheTruth.com. We're just about 15 minutes away from starting our subscriber-only show later tonight. Part of the reason why we're doing this on Patreon, of course, is to financially support the effort that each of us are going to bring real news that does not have the financial influence of multi-million-dollar sponsors, but rather micro-sponsorship from all of our viewers. And of course, the other reason is a lot of the videos that you guys have put out get banned from YouTube and Facebook and things like that. So by having a subscriber-only model, we've got a little more of a protected environment in which people can watch and learn from these videos. Right?
Yes, sir. We'll see everybody on the flip flop.
Yeah, and so with that, we will head over to patreon.com. I look forward to continuing our conversation there. Jimmy and JoAnne, thanks so much for joining me here on YouTube and Periscope and Facebook. We will see everyone in just 15 minutes on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, or subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you there.